We're going in quick and dirty here with a Queen's Gambit accepted from Hikaru Nakamura. Daddy Karu, as we've got to call him. Congrats to him and Atusa. They just had a baby. He's playing against Alireza, the king of fashion, taking the entire centre. Tech Mahindra, Global Chess League, pawn pushing through here. And after knight d5, this pawn's remunched. Bishop f5. And it prepares to go e6 with the bishop outside the chain. However, Alireza's got other plans. He first develops the seahorse, puts this huge pressure on the centre. Do you go e6, c6? You could even go knight b4. No siree. Hikaru plays knight b6, goes after the bishop. Does he know this move? Maybe. It's such a cool move. Can you guess the brilliancy Alireza plays here on move 6? It's pawn to e6, or move 7 rather. A brilliancy. Now okay, they both probably know this. Hikaru eats the bishop, thank you very much. Here's the point. You check and you're winning back your piece like this. But first, let's flick in this little in-betweener, a Zwischenzug. It gets whispered over the board. Top chess etiquette. The king's in check. e6 defends. Black's got the bishops lasering across the board. But now this knight develops into the game. And not only does it protect the pawn in the centre, the IQP, learn to play with it if you want to be aggressive. But you also prepare to jump and check in some lines. This pawn's a bit tender. So h6 takes control of g5 and i5. I sound terribly out of breath over here. Not sure what's going on. Did just help the wife bring in the shopping. We get the old delivery done. Way too lazy to go to the shops. One of those post-COVID things. So convenient. This bishop develops, takes control of the square. There's no punchline coming, sorry. It's literally just a life story. That square is now challenged and the bishop here, and so Alireza backs off. We now see the rook develop into the game. Going for the castles by hand here. It's what we see on the board, and we get Chewbacca's favourite move, the Wookiee one. Bit of pressure on this backwards e6 pawn. This isn't fun to defend. And now king h8. Prophylactic chess, which means to guard against before something happens. Now we see the rook lift into the game. Of course, Alireza whispers, do you even rook lift, bro? Get yourself some merch. Link down below. We just released the Chess Speaks for Itself t-shirt. I love it. I'll be wearing it soon. It's on the way. Queen d7 connects those rooks and knight e4. Galloping into the game, and after Hikaru centralizes this cannon, this knight hits the promised land. And because it's such a monster looming over the ramparts, hitting all these points, you know, don't go here to defend this, or e6 collapses, you just have to deal with it. Give up your legendary bishop bear, not ideal, and play a worse pawn structure. Queen d5 looking a decent move. Try and get some exchanges going. But this is played. Bit of a nothing move. A waiting one. Nothing burger. h3 gives some Lufthansa for the king. Now we see queen f7. Not entirely sure the idea. Perhaps the one to come. Alireza brings this second rook into the game. Stacking it. Logical. This knight's a real problem piece. Has no jumps. And you can't step back to e7 and try and maneuver or something or other. Or else the pawn drops. Rook c8 is very passive. These are the ongoing problems. So here we see a little rook lift. Trying to triple stack on that d file. But before you can say Daddy Karu, space is gained. Now we see pawn a6, but a4. Simply renewing the threat, of course. Queen d7. b5's on the board. Takes. Pawn recaptures. Discombobulates this knight. And after takes, rook takes, it looks like Hikaru is putting out the flames of the fire, the white initiative. But after rook takes here, queen recaptures, you don't want to be taking. Because bishop takes, and yes, you can nab this pawn, but black would nab this pawn. Therefore, the excellent queen a5 is played. double hitting the c pawn, and we do have to ask, why not c6? Save the pawn, we're in the back cave. This is how the line would go. The problem is the white attack continues. Here we can see a sample line preparing this checkmate in one, and this is the problem with opposite coloured bishops. It can be fine in terms of trying to hold a draw, but if one side is attacking and got the initiative, then it becomes a big problem, because you can never defend on that same colour complex of squares. Now black's not collapsing here, but there's just slow motion, creeping, improving moves, and it's black who's having all the fun. Sorry, white. Black's completely tied down. Let's jump back to the game. We didn't see pawn to c6. We saw rook f7. Allowing takes. That's one to the good for Alireza. Bishop e4 is played. The wooden shield, as Hikaru would say. And now the excellent bishop g3. Simply getting out of dodge so that the queen doesn't have to defend that one. And now you can reactivate the queen. Best defense for black here is queen d5, but this was played. Looks so natural, but now the excellent queen b4, the only move to keep a significant advantage, and after Hikaru sets up that kind of tick-tock clock attack thing on the pawn and the f-pawn here, the excellent response is played queen b1, and you're forcing the exchange of the ladies. Now hang on a minute. Is this not good for black? Big drawing chances. Opposite coloured bishops will watch this. Another wooden shield on the board. King g8 prepares to move the queen. Crash through here. So takes now played. Pawn recaptures selected. Rook d1 hits the bishop. And it's defended like this. Don't go pawn c6. Great way to lose the game on the spot, because bishop takes is the tactic. And you don't have time to take, or you lose a rook with check, and you can't take here, or bishop recaptures. So let's back it up. In the game, we saw bishop d6, bishop's about to drop, saved, and now we get the legendary pawn to c ships, captures, pawn takes back, the rook slides away, c7, Hikaru's knocking on the door, he wants to eliminate this bishop, mate the queen, and we see a big mistake. The best move is king f7. Normally Hikaru finds these kind of defensive ideas, and white still got to prove it, because you can't yet push through. Here's a quick sample line. Big issue that black's got is you can't really do anything. You're just waiting around, babysitting the pawn. You could take one of the best moves, then you're busted. If you wait with something like bishop d7, this is what I was looking at, well, white just enters with the king, and you can even get mated. Not that you have to get mated, but another pawn will start running. Black's too tied down. So this was best, but still losing. Rook a6 was played, saying, aha, I'm going to take your bishop, but rook e1 seals the deal. Because if you execute your threat, then white takes here, eliminates the defender of the square, and of course this is a one end game. So running back here, that doesn't work to take the bishop. What if you try and wait, hold the square? Will you invade? And you can't wait long enough because you get checked, lose a piece, and here's a simple way to win. Or rook h8, doesn't really matter. Just move the rook out the way, it's game over. Nice little win there from Alireza, clinical, crushing, outdid Hikaru in the opening. I should be back later with some Title Tuesday action, but I thought I'd get a little mid-afternoon UK one out. Hope you enjoyed. Thanks very much for watching, and have a look at the video on screen for some more epic chess. Cheers.